Okay, we are live on Facebook. Ooh, I was going to go live on Instagram too, so I'm going to go ahead and just pop that up really quick. So hi everybody, I am here with Trena Little of TrenaLittle.com, and we're going to talk today about everything video. We're finally going to get everybody doing video, even if you don't even think it's something that you think that you might even think about doing.
Yes. I love video.
Yes. So Trena, I'm going to go ahead and put this on Instagram. And while I'm doing that, why don't you go ahead and just introduce yourself and let people know who you are and where they can find you, etc. online.
Okay. Hey guys, I am Trena, and I'm basically like a YouTube strategist. So I help my clients and my students figure out how to get comfortable on camera, what they should be talking about, whether it's practicing on Instagram Live or wherever, and then how to craft their video content specifically for YouTube, because a lot of people don't realize that there's content on YouTube that does well, and there's content on YouTube that doesn't do so well. So it's really just helping them figure out how to craft their script, their content, and then how to optimize that to rank in search results so they can organically grow their following on YouTube and Google, because they're the same company. So by doing well on one, you're doing well on the other. And that's basically the gist of what I do. It's just really helping people get comfortable on camera and figuring out how to use that video content to really grow their business and build that know, like, and trust factor that video does such a great job with.
Yeah, I would love to know we have a few people who are here already. I would love to know, are you doing video? And if not, like, where are you at with video, I guess, is my big question. So, and we're getting more people jumping on, which is great. I think this is one of the most important topics in online business right now. And I feel like it's a thing that people are resisting so much. Like, I'm sure you hear people talking all the time about, like, I want to do video, but, and they're just like always at that like purgatory level of, I can't seem to get over the hump and do it. Or maybe I tried it once and it wasn't amazing, so I'll never do it again kind of thing. Do you hear that a lot?
Yeah, the two biggest things I get is it boils down to I have a face for radio, right? People don't think they look good enough to be on camera. So that's one of the biggest things. The other biggest thing is I don't have a pretty background. So people aren't creating video content because they don't think they have this pretty background. Yeah. And then the third one usually that hangs people up is they think they need this like fancy over the top video editing with like lights and things flying in from left and right and having this overproduced content that you see on some YouTube videos, but those are people that have a video production team working for them. So those are basically like the three huge hurdles I get a lot.
It's always interesting on YouTube, especially, and anyone who who does video content, to go back and like look at their first videos.
Yes.
Because you'll see, oh, that was really crappy. Like, oh, the quality was terrible. And the thing is, they just got started, right? Like they just jumped on and did it and didn't wait.
Yeah. If you even go back to Marie Forleo's first videos, she's just using her laptop camera in her kitchen. Like she's just pulling up it and doing video, not even worried about the background, just sharing that video content that can build that know, like, and trust factor.
Yeah, totally. All right. So let's talk about a few ways. I think we've got like 5 tips, some things that we can do to get you on camera, and to put in your questions. And Beth is here. Hi, Beth. So Beth says I'm actually a beta tester for a Facebook Live course. I'm excited. Well, that's great. Well, here we are. This is one example of doing video.
Yeah. So we were talking about
let's get to the part.
Yeah, so the first one I'd say was practice. And a great place to practice has been Instagram stories. And so I was huge on Snapchat like a year ago. I love Snapchat because I had that video that you could practice on, get comfortable, start to realize, your angle, how you're sounding, because that really stops a lot of people. They hate hearing the way they sound. So by just practicing, I was really pushing Snapchat. And then Instagram stories happened. And so now I tell people, just start on Instagram stories, do a couple stories, see how it feels, and it disappears in 24 hours. And then the next step I would say is to practice on Facebook, go live on Facebook. And if you don't like it, don't post it. Like you got over that hump you started practicing and it just helps you get better. Like, you're never going to get better. That's what I tell people. You're never going to get better if you don't do it. It's like riding a bicycle. You're not going to take those training wheels off if you don't just practice and do it over and over and over again. And I'm sure you can attest, your first video to your current videos are a huge difference.
Yeah, I did a video, I think it was in 2012, maybe 2013. And I was like, okay, I'm going to make a video. And I opened up my MacBook and I recorded it probably 5 times because I was like, oh, that was terrible. Oh, that was terrible. Oh, that was terrible. And the final one, it's still on my YouTube channel. And it was like 3 tips for like making consistent revenue with your business. Cause I had just finished the point of, I was doing this thing called Project Moolah where I was trying to make $2,000 a month. And I had like just come to the end of that and was like giving my recap and was so excited. And I was looking at the computer the whole time. So my eyes are like down here. And I thought it was amazing at the end. I'm like, I did a really good job. And I look at it now and I'm like, oh my God. You know, just the quality, the lighting, everything. But it's because there's so many difficult pieces of doing video and like doing anything in business really, but doing video. And when you do it more, you get incrementally better each time. It's too many moving parts to do it super. The tech, the editing, the script, are you going to script it? Are you not going to script it? Like, I had no idea what to do. So you ramble and then you're like, okay, is that okay? And do you have music? What do you do? Background, all these different things. And once you get going with something that's just like your shitty first draft and you go and you go and you go, before you know it, 3 years later, everyone's like, oh my God, I want to do videos like you. And you're like, well, it took me 3 years to even get, you know, to where I am now, which is still not where what I think is perfection, which obviously doesn't exist. So yeah, I can totally attest to that.
Yeah. And it's like we said, it's just doing it. Then you start to realize this is where my light needs to be. This is where I need to look into the camera. This is how I need to deliver my content. Like, that's the kind of stuff, the more you do it, the more it sets in and it's easier for you to do every single time. Absolutely. Awesome. So Laura says, I think another fear is the negative, hurtful comments people leave and how to deal with them. Is this something you see people facing a lot? I get a lot of people saying that, but you've been on YouTube longer than I have. I have not really had any hurtful comments. I have my tribe that follows me and they're usually, oh, this was a great tip. Thank you for sharing this. But I haven't really experienced that on YouTube as much as some people think they might. Have you experienced a lot? I think those things happen. Like, I've had a couple, and I'm thinking of business in general too. Like, there's a handful of trolls, I would say, and they come and they go. And I think what I would say about that is, like, you have a message that you need to communicate to people. And you are deciding what you're going to do based on that person, on mean people. Like, you're letting them win if you're going to decide that I'm not going to communicate my message in the best possible way because I'm afraid of this potential person. And even if they do something, it's like, well, that person's a loser. Like, they're sitting behind their screen writing mean comments on YouTube. And I see these things as funny now. Like, I guess I don't take them personally because I know that it honestly has nothing to do with me. So yeah, I get like some random, I think there was one that was like, it took you X amount of time to get into the points. And then it was just, okay. Okay. Don't watch. Just like, I just think it's funny, but there's so many people out there that you do want to help and you're punishing them because of, like, I think that's a good mindset shift because people might be out there and you can't control that, but to not decide what you're going to do based on potential, like, don't let the trolls win. Right. Yeah. And with YouTube, they actually do have like a filter system. So you can go in and tell YouTube, these are the types of words you don't want to show up on your comment section. And so if somebody types something hurtful or you think something they might say, you can actually tell YouTube that and they won't even let that comment show up in your comment section. And they do flag a lot of spam. Like, they won't even let a lot of spam show up on your comments. So YouTube they know they had a problem, and they have done a lot to combat the problems on YouTube with troll comments.
And you can always delete.
Yes.
Which I think I have no problem with that. Like, don't need that around. So.
And you can actually set it up that you have to approve the comments that show up on your channel too. And so you can just go in and delete if you don't want other people to see it. You can do that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. What's our next tip?
So the next tip is equipment. And my tip for you is to start with what you have. I get from a lot of people, oh, I need to buy this DSLR camera, this lens, this light kit, the Devo light, and I can't do video content until I have it. But the funny thing is I'm trying to find it. This is the best camera that you probably have right now is your cell phone. And what I do tell people is make sure that you use this side of your phone and not this side, because this camera is better.
It's way better. Yeah.
You're just going to get a better quality video if you use that back side than the front side. And basically put it in front of a window. Like prop your phone on a windowsill and just film your video. That's the best place to start. I mean, the extent that cameras have gotten better on cell phones are crazy. And for you to have to worry about the tech of a DSLR, like I don't even use a DSLR because I tried it a couple times. And when I got done filming, my entire video was blurry. So I was like, done.
So I always hesitate, and I am doing a blog post really soon. I just filmed it yesterday actually on how I do my videos. But I've really resisted that because I feel like when people want the tech list, they're looking for excuses.
Right.
They're looking for excuses. Why do you need my tech list? I didn't get someone else's tech list. I just have, like, yes, 3 years ago I did buy a DSLR that I still don't even really know how to use. And I spent probably like a week straight obsessively trying to figure out how to film like a basic video. And it took hours and hours, and I filmed like 3 videos and they were all blurry and all out of focus, and I had to redo them all. And it was a really big pain. So I say, and I actually sometimes now I'm in the rhythm, but I used to think like, why don't I just set it up like this and make a video and it would have the same effect? So I wouldn't don't let the tech, start with what you have. And if you find that you're really getting into video and you're doing it a lot and you want to slowly upgrade your tools, that's fine. Like I just bought a lighting kit only because I would use natural light, but the space has none. So we did that because we had to, but otherwise it's like, scotch, I would say scotch tape together, whatever you've got, use that. That's a great tip.
A lot of people don't realize they can get that lighting with just buying a certain type of light bulb. So if they just buy like those daylight balanced light bulbs that come with light kits, you can put them in lamps that you already have, and just getting them close to you instantly is going to neutralize your lighting, because normal light bulbs have that yellowish tint, but buying these daylight balanced light bulbs are more of a neutral blue light, and that's why it gives that more professional look. And it's just light bulbs on Amazon for like $27 US or something like that.
They have them at IKEA, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So scotch tape it together. I love it.
Yeah. I'm all about it. Yep. Do what you can. Bootstrapping.
Yeah. And then the third tip that I have is background. A lot of people are like, I don't have a pretty office. So I can attest to this. I had my office, perfect office, loved it. And then we decided to sell our house and sold it in 3 days. And we had to find somewhere to move into. And so this was the place that we had to move into. And I don't like it. But since doing video content in the past 8 months since being here, I have gotten over, I think I'm at 30,000 views. And I have an ugly background. Like I have this yellowish tint color. It's not my brand color. It's not, my brand font. It's not my brand image, but I'm focusing on the content I'm sharing. And that's why I was able to really grow my views and get more people watching my videos. And it had nothing to do with this ugly background.
Yeah, I hear that. I started doing my videos and I was in a basement in my mom's house. All my original, first video background. And what I did was I just found a bunch of stuff like from around the house, and I spent an afternoon and I just set it up so that I had this background that had like, it had like my Eiffel Tower poster and my clock and like my diploma. And like, I mean, it's like funny because I would have probably never picked that stuff, but I kind of just was like, how can I use what I have? How can I figure this out using what I have? I found some you know, those like really cheap pieces of plywood furniture that you buy on Amazon and build in an hour incorrectly and backwards. And I found a couple of those sitting around, and I just kind of like stacked them up so that things would be at the right height, and put like some flowers every once in a while. Like I put a lamp back there that I think I got at Target for $12. So I think it's about using what you have and doing what you can. Definitely like don't go into debt. So, like getting a camera and all of those things.
Another thing is just like fabric. Like buy some fabric and pin it. Like make sure it's tight, because when it starts to slack a little bit, it doesn't look as good. But pin some fabric, photography paper. Like you can easily buy some photography paper on Amazon. Like like you said, work with what you have, or find a cheap alternative, because you're not going to move houses, right? You have to kind of make it work.
Yeah, and it's all about getting started and give yourself a deadline. Like I'm filming on this day, so whatever I can get done and set up, you know, before then, but otherwise this is what it's going to look like. Or just go outside.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, because that's the perfect lighting is natural lighting. So find a nice little patio furniture and sit down and share your video.
There you go. All right. What's next?
So my next step is, especially if you want to start using YouTube, which is the second largest search engine, is to validate your video idea. And the reason why I say this is because you might think you know what people want from you, but until you find that exact phrase, maybe they're searching it into YouTube a different way. You want to validate that title, because that's how you're going to start growing your authority on YouTube, is because you're going to rank your videos because you know exactly what people are typing into YouTube or Google so they can find your content. And so I know, coming from the blogging world, a lot of people want like those cute, catchy titles. But when it comes to YouTube and Google SEO, they're more not robotic, but more SEO centric. Dry,
to the point.
Yeah. And so that's how coming up with those video ideas, you can take what people have asked you or what you might think, or go to somebody else's YouTube channel that does some videos like you and see how they're titling their videos and see which of their videos are really popular. And then do your own take on it. Just because a video is out there that's similar, what's your take on it? What's your spin on it? The way you feel about that topic is probably not the way somebody else feels about it. So I really tell people to validate that idea, because that's going to help get those views rolling specifically for YouTube.
This was a big aha for me. We were just always like, we were always using YouTube as a dumping ground for video. Right. Like we weren't using YouTube. It was like, that's where we host the videos. Right. And then we put the videos on the blog. Until starting to realize, okay, that's really stupid, because we can get a lot of traction on YouTube. So realizing that we actually need to have a blog title and a YouTube title for each video, and that those are two completely different titles, because the blog title, yes, is normally like a little bit longer, a little bit more branded, a little bit more specific. And the YouTube channel one is normally like how to write web copy. Like it's like can be so much more basic on YouTube, because that is what people are looking for. And I know this was something that a tip you gave me, because Trina did an audit of my channel. Then it's also a smaller phrase to put on your, what are they called? The icons. Thumbnails. Yeah. And your thumbnails on your videos, because if you have long text, then nobody can read it when it's in the thumbnail. So by shortening that, it works in the search engine, and it also makes it so that people recognize it when they're using YouTube and they see all those suggested videos on the side.
Yeah, and they actually say, you know, your thumbnail shouldn't say the same thing as your title, because people can read what your title is. So your thumbnail should basically supplement the title and cause people to click on it, because you don't have to do anything SEO friendly on that thumbnail. You can put catchy words there, and your thumbnail is what's going to get people to your content, right? It doesn't matter how good your content is. If you show up in search results, you have to have that thumbnail catch people's eyes to want them to click on it, or they're not even going to know if you have a video team or not because they didn't click on it because the thumbnail didn't stand out to them.
Yeah, that's really true. That's a great piece of advice. I like that. I'm going to be writing that one down.
Yeah. A lot of people don't think about that, but I mean, you could do the best video of your life, but if your thumbnail doesn't stand out in that search result, and you really want to get attention from a new audience on YouTube, like that thumbnail is do or die, right?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got the wheels turning now. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happens next?
So then the last tip I have is to write a script. And I know there's a lot of two sides on this, and how I explain to write a script is to get your ideas down so that you're not getting on video and you're rambling. Especially for YouTube, there's a certain format that you want to follow if you want to keep people watching. And the reason why you want to keep people watching is YouTube tracks that, and they reward videos that keep people watching longer. And so you want to script out your video because you need to have kind of like the 4 elements of a YouTube video, which is your hook. So the very beginning of your video should be something that grabs people's attention, or say, in today's video, you're going to learn how to 3 times your Pinterest following with just doing these 3 tips. And then people are like, oh my goodness, I need to watch this. And so they stick around to watch. Then you just can put in your intro, whether that's music with your logo or whatever bumper that you have, and let people know who you are and get to that content as quick as possible. YouTube has a very short retention rate, and people want to get to that content fast. So that's how I tell people to really structure their YouTube video. And that's why I say to script it. So going into your video what you're going to say so you can keep people's attention. And you don't have to read it. You can write out bullet points so that you just know what you're going to say. And so you don't get off topic or you start rambling. And then all of a sudden your 5-minute video is now 15 minutes. And people are like, what is she talking about?
Yep. Yep. We all do that. And that's one of those things that is a muscle and takes practice.
Yes.
And it always feels like when I'm recording a video that it goes by really fast. And then afterwards I'm like, oh no, I talked a lot.
Yeah.
But it normally is, you think it's going by fast, but for someone else listening, because you're active and engaged, when they're sitting there listening, like their attention span is a little bit different. Their engagement level is a little bit different. And having that format too, I think of like intro, content, wrap it up, give them an action step. Like that's literally the format that I use. And when I outline videos, I always am just, okay, what's my intro? Like why should people watch this? Why should they care? Here's my tips to help them to do this thing. And now what do I want them to do? And that's like, if you have a format, it makes it a lot easier, because if you're just doing like an open-ended, like creative project, you could do it. It's too wide open. There's too many options and you'll be paralyzed. So format, simple tips, bullet points.
What I tell a lot of people, they're like, well, how do you read your tip? How do you read your script on video? And so one of the things that I do is, if you do write out your script, what I tell people to do is to like look down at their script, see what their couple sentences are. Just remember like 2 or 3 at a time. Look up into the camera, deliver them, then pause. Don't trail off and look down, because it's going to be a lot harder to edit.
Yes.
So you just deliver those couple sentences, take a pause, look down. What are your next couple sentences? Look up, deliver it, pause, go down. And it just helps you. You can cut out those pauses a lot easier in the editing process. And it actually makes your video look like it's going faster by having those jump cuts in it too.
Yes. That is my biggest regret whenever I edit, is I wish I stopped at the end of a sentence, because I'll say, yeah, I'm going to do this. And then, and I'm like, oh, I wish that was like, because if I cut it, you can hear that I kept talking after and I was just rambling. And that is always my biggest regret. And that's totally what I did when I started too. I would have the script, because it was too nerve-wracking for me to just wing it. And I would pause, read a sentence, pause, read a sentence, and then edit them together. And it actually it makes the video look more professional when it has those cuts. It looks like, oh wow, this was like really put together. And now what we do, or what I do, because I'm the only one, is I write out the blog post or outline it. And then I literally just put I take a sticky note and I just write the bullet points on a sticky note and I stick the sticky note onto my camera.
Yeah.
Because I'm normally like standing and it's easier that way and to get into it. So that's exactly the same thing. You don't have to like buy a teleprompter.
No. And even that, I feel like people might start looking like, is she reading? Like they can see your eyes kind of like move. And so I do the same thing. I'm standing up too, because you get into it more. Like I feel like on video, you kind of have to turn it up just a couple notches because video will suck out your energy. And so it's not that you have to be a different person, but you do have to over exaggerate just a little bit, because for people to watch you, you need to have that energy to stay engaged, right?
To be your normal self on video, you have to be like a little if you're not just higher. It's why like I wear more makeup on video and because you look so washed out otherwise.
Yes.
Like, and then I go outside, I'm like, people think I'm crazy.
I've got a full-on face of makeup and yoga pants on.
Yoga pants. Yeah, it's normally like the changing to tops and wearing those like leggings on bottom.
Yes. Me too.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Trena. I don't know if anyone has any questions in the audience. I think there's like a 1-minute delay, but I really appreciate it. I have one question for you before we wrap up, which is now that I've been doing videos for a while, I actually am really interested in doing some more like vlog style or behind the scenes type of content that isn't just talking head, me delivering my tips in the format I've been doing for 3 years. So do you have any tips for that, or like for someone who wants to kind of branch out into doing a little bit more dynamic form of video?
Even with vlogs, you kind of have to have an idea what it is you're going to do in that vlog, right? So that you can ultimately title it something that's going to rank in search results so people actually find you and watch it. And so I've heard like an example where, say it's a family vlog and they're doing something, but that night they're cooking chicken parmesan. So in the title of that video, it's how to cook chicken parmesan. And even though it's not necessarily the whole video is about that, you do talk about it in there. So think about, what are you going to talk about that day in your vlog? Maybe that day you're working on, building a course. You can walk people through a vlog like, so this is what I do generally on a day. Like I wake up, this is my morning routine, and today I'm going to be working on building my new course. And so then you can really optimize your video and title your video and promote that video as, here's behind the scenes of how I build a course, so that it does have some kind of a
direction,
some kind of a path, so that you can start getting people to watch it and being found in search results, but you still have that freedom of doing it vlog style and bringing people behind the scenes.
Love it. Thank you so much. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. And everyone, you can find Trena over at trenalittle.com, correct?
Yep.
And on YouTube.
Yeah. Tips with Trena.
Awesome. Yes. I think everyone needs to go start following you. This is going to be a big focus of mine going into the end of the year. And I would love to see more people starting with the Instagram stories, doing some kind of video, starting with what they have. And it honestly is the best way to connect with your audience. Nothing compares to doing video.
Yeah. I really credit video to really making me get to where I am as fast as I did, because they just remember you more, right?
Yes. Right. It's just a more dynamic connection that you have with people than with audio or writing or those two things. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.